Sorry about that. For a moment I thought I was in an 80s cop show or something. Hello and welcome to another episode of On Your Mark. This is for Talos Vice, arc number 338380 by PW. As you might be able to tell from the intro, this is a City of Heroes spin on the 80s cop show Miami Vice. One of the first things you might notice is that the entire contact dialogue is written in a screenplay format, kind of like it was made for the actual TV show. I believe one of the inspirations for this is the fact that two of the actual detective contacts in Talos Island are named Detective Croquette and Detective Basins, who bear a striking resemblance in costume and name to the characters on Miami Vice, Crockett and Tubbs. Hey, why are you running off in such a hurry? The arc is designed for lower level play. The level range is 12 to 20, and there's 3 missions, so it's a pretty short arc. The actual story behind the arc is something typical from that show, at least from what I understand, since I've never actually seen an episode of Miami Vice, but I'm pretty familiar with the concept of the show, and this arc starts out with a drug bust and a hostage situation with some trolls. You also meet up with Detective Croquette near the end of the mission to take out all the rest of the trash. Which that's helpful because he's there, so he makes a presence, but he's not there throughout the entire mission for people that don't like the allies that steal their XP. And as you can see here, this is Detective Croquette, and he's wearing the traditional Miami Vice white Armani suit with the pink shirt underneath, and he is a dual pistols, which is about the most appropriate you can get for a flashy cop. And I must apologize for taking this moment to do my own version of the cheesy high five freeze shot. Thank you very much. The next mission takes place in a seedy nightclub called Syndicators, where Croquette and I are trying to find the source of these drugs. Thankfully, this is not the troll rave map that is one of the more overused maps. Instead, it's a nice dilapidated warehouse map that's filled with a nice mix of low-level gangs that are all in their own group, complete with the obligatory 80s pastel colors where appropriate. Once again in this mission, you meet up with Detective Croquette. This time he is right at the beginning of the mission map, so he does stay with you throughout the entire mission, which some people don't like as much because of the XP, but this I think is a pretty small map, so I don't think it's that big of a deal. Also part of the nightclub scene are a couple scantily clad dancers that you have to rescue, which are dressed as stripper versions of Minx and Miss Liberty. They're nice costume designs where you can easily recognize who they're supposed to be, but you can also tell that they're just dancers and not the actual heroes moonlighting in the nightclub. And then finally, at the end of the mission, we get to our informant, who is an undercover police officer named Wexler, who's apparently giving information to the family. All of this leads to the final climax where we go to confront the mob boss behind it all, Cavalieri. There's the mention of the obligatory speedboat, which is standard of Miami Vice, and the mission map comes through with the closest approximation of a speedboat. We get the docks, even if we do have to make do with an old jalopy boat instead of a nice flashy speedboat. First, there's a quick stash of drugs to bust before tussling with Cavalieri himself. As you can see on my character, he does win the first round, which sends me to the hospital, but it's only one trip before I come back and finish him off. And then, of course, I'm still waiting at the end for Croquette, who is supposed to be meeting up with me coming from around the back. I guess I'll go see what's keeping him. Ah, Croquette, what'll I ever do with you? Overall, this is a totally fun arc. I enjoyed all the 80s throwbacks, from the music cues and the screenplay dialogues to the intentionally cheesy dialogues and the pastel outfits on the standard mobs. It's a quick and fairly easy arc up until the final boss, and while he's no pushover, he's also not that overpowered. This is a really great low-level arc, and it's a totally awesome 80s callback in City of Heroes. Until next time! One last thing before I go, be sure to like this video and leave me a comment telling me what you think and what you like about these videos. And if you want your arc featured on the next On Your Mark, go check the Mission Architect section in the City of Heroes forums and the On Your Mark thread and leave your arc.